I am doing feedback, how professionals abuse their power, coming from my landlord, and being worried sick. And it doesn't help when you've got airborne viruses going around. It makes me very suspicious if they are man-made. So it's a dead end. It's death is outside, death is inside. I want to take this opportunity to reveal the Bible and to take the opportunity to thank people for their expertise who on YouTube who have been teaching me. And I have my own projects, I have my own work, my own creations and my own inspirations to make a book or make a film. Only God knows what I would use my skills and talents for. So I'm using the source of information on YouTube. And so I'm also thanking people for teaching me what I didn't know, and particularly focusing on the Bible relevant to what I want to open the channel here for my community. I've had so many of my channels stolen, and anything I have said that sounded wise, intelligent, beautiful was automatically targeted for theft, identity theft, and deletion. So by doing this video, I will be highlighting how dangerous social media is, and it shouldn't be. It's a basic human right, and it should not only be for the working class. It should be available for people who are sick, or who are pregnant and crippled that don't have a family. So they need it the most for being in a community, and also not have to pay a lot of money to belong somewhere, and not necessarily demand to have lots of followers and have lots of fame. Just simplicity of having 2 or 3 friends. And then there is that competition and challenge factor for loyalty and care, a duty of care, personally and professionally, to unite in the spirit and in the flesh. Probably the priority, however, for me and for God's people is the spirit first, then the flesh second. As for the saints who are not advanced level, who have been persecuted a lot, my priority is the other way around. It is the flesh first and then the spirit, because I'm at an advanced relationship with God in my persecution and oppression. My body has already deteriorated and suffered a lot. So even my ugly faction or anything else, even the worst trait of my personality is deemed better compared to them. Now, I insist on that phrase because so many of the Christians don't like me using it. And it clearly talks about it in the Old Testament, old and updated in the New, where both Christ and Christ's Father in heaven for all the orphans and outcasts, the creator of heaven and earth, had said in the Old Testament to the tyrants, you killed and murdered innocent blood, and those who are better than you, physically, spiritually, characteristically, in every sense. This is the old Bible talking. As for the new Bible, Jesus says, Jesus Christ, Yeshua, or Yahoshua says, there are prophets and priests and priestesses and prophetesses who are going to do work and more advanced miracles than I have done. So it does not mean copying Christ, walking on water and all the miracles Christ did. It means more advanced miracles in the sense that we can save more souls from hell and make heaven more popular on earth in comparison to hell. Because when there are bad leaders about, when there's hell on earth, it means the destruction of everything, human, animals, nature. And this is what happens with black witchcraft. This is what happens with bad leaders. This is what happens with those that are bent on destroying everybody's life, making everything about war and nothing about peace. And so this is a definition of hell. It's only war, death and destruction. There is nothing designed by God. It's all designed by the devil. So this is a huge problem of making hell more popular than heaven. And this is why we need to pray to the Savior, our Father, who is in heaven. Holy and pure is your name. Let your kingdom come. Let your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give me, does it say give me? Or does it mean give us today our daily bread? It says us. It says us, not me. It's not singular. It's not plural. It's plural, I meant to say. It's us. Give us today our daily bread and forgive us. Does it say us or forgive me? Forgive me. We have to find that prayer and check it out. Forgive me my sins as I forgive those who sin against me. Or does it say as a singular? Or did Jesus teach us how to pray? Yahoshua in Hebrew translated his actual name. Forgive us our sins as we forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. So it's talking in a group setting, the crowd, the community. It has never said in a singular word. In a singular world, it's a private world. It's a private reality. Where you have to find a way to be stronger than the enemy, independently and individually. And that's where you have to be humbled by your own consciousness. And no one has a conscience without a Savior, who is Christ. You have to be in a position to be patient as an individual regarding your enemy, with humility. And you have to find a way to heal, allow God to help. This is personal, private. In it, praying that prayer for my spiritual food and physical food, and for my protection from evil. So I have to be responsible as an adult to pray that, because God needs to give assistance and support to everyone. So I'm a living witness and testimony how I have used God to rely and depend on, even when everybody else is effing about, and in other words, it's only about sex, drugs, and money. They would even have sex with an animal, have sex with their own relatives. And so that's the damage that they do to make a sick society, where perversion and obscurance of holy justice, that is God's law, not man-made law. So that's the damage done when heaven is more popular than hell. Then hell is more popular than heaven. And I am here, you are here to turn it around and say, no, we have to, in God's community, the truth seekers are Christians without even knowing. Not the other type of false truth seekers that seek truth only for money. You can't have two masters. The root of all evil is loving money more than God. However, if you are a truth seeker And you've proven that you're a truth seeker through these humility, humbleness, and through healing, even against all odds, even when the entire majority is against you. Only then could you be called a truth seeker that is genuine gold, not the type of truth seeker that people would do just for money and fame. Not that type of truth seeker. That's a false truth seeker. The real truth seeker will do anything and everything with all my mind, all my strength, all my energy, seeking the truth against all odds. And even if that seems impossible, without bowing down to bow or looking at the detail of what the wise teachers are telling me on YouTube. And some of them wise, otherwise are not, other teachers are not so wise, but they have been humbled enough to share their knowledge and information so that people can learn the truth that sets us free. However, no one knows the truth 100%. Only God knows the truth. The creator of heaven and earth knows the truth 100%. That's another reason why we all need a savior and who will heal. So no one's going to heal without the truth, 100% truth. No one's going to have humility and kindness and patience without the 100% truth. And no one is going to be humbled without pardon and mercy and grace. So that's the situation. So I'm going to give an example within this video what I mean, how I'm being abused and how I have not given up on my truth, even if it means me losing everything, the same as Saint Paul. No, not Paul. Saint Job in the Old Testament, and who is one of the old, he's even probably older than Moses, before Moses ever existed, and probably before Abraham existed. But Job is probably the oldest prophet, who suffered so much and was scrutinized and had to live with the enemy and had come to the end of ends, to the death doors, and he survived after he lost his manhood, he lost his job, he lost his wife and children to natural disaster in the bad weather and a virus. And God gave him a second chance through compassion, a second life, another wife, and more children, and he recovered. So this is the example of the third stage of being haunted by bad tyrants, and I'll just say bad, human or bad angel, of forcing you to be a type of a living dead zombie. So there's some type of good zombies and there's also bad zombies through sickness, disease, and disaster of a natural bad weather that can destroy everything. That's the third stage. The second stage was the dead end, which is also half of a disaster. So that means almost the total disaster. Every opportunity you turn, there is rejection, there is the majority versus the minority, there is a dead end everywhere. You turn because of poverty, because of persecution and tortures. So it's a dead end. There's no way out. There's no escape, which is a horror, almost total disaster. Is this being recorded, or did I block out the microphone? I hope to God not. And then brings me, so that's stage 2. And then there's stage 1 of being in a catch-22 of a disaster. That means being confronted by bad luck and dealing with individuals you don't want to deal with, but you have no choice, in a group, in a job, that you have to deal with these individuals in a work setting, in a formal meeting, and you don't really want to, so you're being bullied and oppressed. So that's where I'm at. And so everybody goes through everyone in that exists on planet Earth will go through these stages at some point in their life. But not everybody chooses to be a madman. And so we're looking at wise men and madmen. So returning to the introduction of the video is the story in the Bible of King David and Solomon, who was the wisest man. And he was a type of a politician or professional that was genuine gold, and he was the same as King David, the good type of royal, the good type of politician who loved God. And so he was a type of an example of a cat-dog personality. And he's also a type of a solicitor. He's also a type of a teacher in the Bible that was written, this story, real life account, more than 2,000 years ago, much older. So it was all royalty and legalistic things that is similar to a weapon. But it is a holy type, not the perverted, unholy type. And he loved God the same as his father, King David, loved God. And this is how they were strong and united as a family. And God granted his wishes and feelings to become increasingly more intelligent and wise. So there's a difference between intelligence, being generally clever, academic achievement, professionalism, a professor, someone that is renowned of, how can I put it, of a high status quo. That means they could easily find a job, they've been promised academic achievement, certificates and things like that. So this is an example of also being in a constructive type of building, and a type of a builder also. And rain, that means God Almighty reigns, not in the weather rain. I mean the control of a city, control of social, and also even dreams. So I very rarely dream or fantasize. So to be young-hearted and young-minded and open-minded, to be clever, you should have dreams. You should be able to fantasize and use your imagination for good, not for evil. To feel and be young. And so this is what he learned. How to love his life. How to appreciate God and the Creator by being very young. In his intelligence, in his IQ, his ability to use creation and imagination. Number 3, he also learned how to be a solicitor and a lawyer type because he could rule as an authoritarian justly. fairly, not a partial judge. And number 4, because he was rich, he became famous. He did not have the wisdom, however, that if he was poor, like Prophet Job, would he still be famous? Prophet Job was. He lost all his riches. He was poor and sick and disabled, and he was still famous. So he failed in that test, because the sooner he became poor as an adulterer and having this madman behavior, that means that he has to have too many women. The man who wants multiple women and he's unhappy with his insecurities, and he's isolating himself. So he needs to have many women around him so that he can regain respect and trust himself. So he is his own enemy as a result of having an adulterous lifestyle. And no one will reveal the truth during a crisis, what your true colors are. How would you be? Would you have that humility? Would you be humbled? And would you help someone to heal in a crisis, in the worst case scenario? Most people will hide that. No one would want to reveal that. Particularly adulterers. They destroy civilization and they destroy people at their worst, vulnerable. When they hit rock bottom, they target them. So this is someone who is a tyrant. Who are you? Who are you at the worst case scenario? Would you still be your best, or would you be your worst? That it will not invest time, it will not invest energy. It would want to have the center of attention of everyone. It would demand it. So this is the result of an adulterous man. And I have learned this from my teacher on YouTube. He's helped me to acknowledge that. The adulteresses do not care. How can they care or love truly when they're an adulterer? Want multiple sexual partners, want a sexual spouse every year, every new year, or every 2 new years. They get a new one, a new false commitment. They need to clean their ears. I have very little earwax because I have been putting plugs in. So I'm regrowing or regenerating my ear to produce wax, natural wax. Because I blocked my ears so I didn't have to hear the abusers, insults, and adding to my injuries. So the abuser will limit me, will not respect my boundaries, will not respect my responsibility, would not want me to have my own identification. It would want me to, it would want to blacken my name, me be nameless, me be faceless. And so it wants to be an extension of me. This is the abuser. And this is how I am being infected by the abuser that constantly rejects me and does a lot of damage. So I have to clean and heal as a result of that abuse. Knowing that they don't care about me, they won't stand by me, they want to create a crisis, they're not loyal, they don't care, they don't see my worth, and they don't want me to have peace or any blessing from God. No children, no peace, no security, no privacy, and no shower facility or bathroom facility where I can take care of my body and have various ways of taking care of my body, not only oil, not only talcum powder, not only alcohol, but to actually wash properly in the water. And I can't do that when for 3 years I have gone without a proper shower not working, and many disrepairs and flooding bathroom, which is a tripping hazard. And every time they keep doing repairs, and every time they come, it gets worse and worse and worse until the floor collapses. And I don't know, until my neighbour below sues the landlord, or I sue the landlord. I don't know. I don't know what will happen. Or the landlord will make me homeless and evict me and find a way to put the blame and shame on me. So this is the example of constant abuse by the abuser. And I'm not the adulterer, they're the adulteress is. And so who is the worst adulteresses? So I've given the example of what they've done to destroy and damage. And also I've had 2 years ago a man called Mr. Edward come into my home in an emergency where there was a flood and complain that my home was dirty and untidy. How can you have everything clean and tidy in a flood and in a freezing, no central heating accommodation? So he's a madman. So I complained. My landlord accepted my complaint, but at the same time they pushed and forced their narrative on me to say that I need a cleaning agency, which they exploited me by. I could find a cheaper cleaner than what they've suggested. And so they gave me a charity without love, and they made my enemy, Mr. Edward, who was abusing in an emergency, have the first word and the last word. We're going to clean your house. We'll do it for free. We'll pay for it. But you have to compliment us. You have to make us stand out. And if you don't, elevate me, says the abuser. If you don't make me great, says the abuser. If you don't give a positive feedback on online, internet. If you don't give us constructive compliments and constant compliments. If you don't allow me to control the narrative that we cleaned your house and we did it for free. And but the hidden stab in the back and the hidden attack is that they made the abuser have the first word and the last word regarding my home. And so also that they've got involved in their department for fire and safety regulations, approaching the council to make a new policy with policymakers to stop my rubbish-assisted free collection at my door. Because they know I can't carry the bin bags down the stairs and there's no lift in the flats. So they've stopped. I've used that service for 4 years. And then all of a sudden they've stopped the service and politicized it as a bad politician, a bad judge, and said, we have COVID-19 or we have an airborne disease. So to protect our staff, we're not allowed to enter the building block of flats. You have to leave the bins outside. I can't carry it. There's no lift. And what am I supposed to do in it? Pay privately, be exploited, and that's another thing that they've done to attack me and character assassinate me and call my... So they're saying I'm dirty and untidy, and yet they're the ones who are making me dirty and untidy by making new policies and rules to stop my human rights and demeaning and dehumanizing. So the enemy has done this, and I cannot say that they're guilty. I cannot be passive-aggressive. I cannot even have basic criticism of them. I'm not allowed to provoke them or argue with them. And I'm not allowed to love bomb them and be too flirtatious or too nice. And the fifth thing is, I'm not allowed to open my window, because if I do, they'll have sex in the car park at 9 a.m. and let me hear them having sex in their car with their windows opened. So that's their way of coming in. Even though my door is locked, they would allow and enable other abusers to surround my home. So these are the five things what I'm not allowed to do, according to the narcissist abuser that wants me dead. And so they don't have their best interest as my rogue, careless landlord for me, and it's very bad. I made a note here. I've lived here for 13 years, and they've gradually wormed themselves in as a worm in an apple to make a rotten revenge and big problems. To only have legal protections from this for themselves, the working class, and no protection for people who are not the working class. It's almost impossible to find legal aid and to keep their noses and their spies and mind their own business. So even if I was to take them to court to sue them, they would probably still win, because they have more money with their legal protections against discrimination and against what they've done. I can't even claim, I'm looking to claim compensation. The fact that I had fallen on puddles, bruised, I could have had a fractured rib because I'm a heavy lady, and I'd fallen over twice in 2017 when they installed a shower, again, new shower on top of an old floor, old foundation that was rotting and not properly concreted. It was disgusting. So they've put something new on top of something old for the shower. And they did the same thing with the boiler. New boiler connected and circulated on an old programmer. And I told them, why are you doing this? I didn't shout at them. I remained calm. And I sound wounded. I sound as if I'm a baby, wounded, shaken. When I phone them, I sound very, very sad on the phone, and at the same time, I sound full of authority and confidence. They hate my voice. If I was to use my landline to call my landlord, somebody had damaged my phone on my landline so that I cannot make an outgoing call to my landlord. It's blanked. And that's mysterious. I went to contact my landline provider and said, can you help with this? Can you restore this? Why is it that I cannot call my landlord from my landline? It just has a dead line. I can do it on a mobile, but not on a landline, which is a sign that my landline is tapped into. Can you test it? Nope, there's nothing wrong with your line. If you have interference or you think you're being listened to, report it to the police. However, you need the evidence. So this is the contradiction. This is the constant trap that they've put me in by tyrants everywhere. And they don't look at my best interests. They haven't got my signature of signed agreement that I want to work with them as a team. First of all, there is no unity in the spirit or the flesh. So they're the same as the robbers and the rapists. There is another way of describing robbery and rape, and that is the violation of the woman's right to wash herself with water, fully immerse her body. Not with milk, not with any other thing, water. So they've denied me that for 3 years. So nobody has baths in this for my tenants, for all the occupying tenants and residents. Everybody has a shower. However, not everybody is being bullied and oppressed by a landlord, by too many disrepairs, and the repairs don't last long enough. After 2 months it's broken down again, I cannot use it. I've told them this, I've complained, stage 1, stage 2, escalated it, haven't contacted the ombudsman. I am contacting the solicitor in respect of moving. So in respect to me looking for a new accommodation with the help of a solicitor so that I can move and get out, because they're using history against me. They're using the pictures of my daughter on my wall against me. And anything I have achieved, they want to delete. And any memory of me, the fact that I exist here, I live here, they want to remove. So it's a rented accommodation, landlord. And I'm publicising this, I'm putting this on social media, what they've done, and they are called Thrive Homes. I am not thriving. My enemies are thriving. So I had a stalker and his connections moving into the same neighbourhood to cause trouble and to dominate me. During the time I had been paralysed and incapacitated, that means in a lot of physical pain. And so I couldn't do anything about it. They're not these are not gentlemen, even though they may come across as gentlemen, they're not. So they have promised each other to break my bathroom in order, they won't refurbish it, even though it was awarded by an occupational therapist, the money to refurbish it. So I'm still looking to find legal protections, but mainly God's protection. Again, because Jesus also, Yeshua, was a type of a solicitor. But to say they're doing improper works, constantly betraying me in meetings, broken promises, and it was 5 months ago when I had that meeting, nothing has been done that was a priority proven. Instead, to say it's your floor and it's your shower door on order for nothing. No new floor, no new shower doors. Instead, they come here to do the bathroom window and the kitchen window vents. That's no priority. So they've done mismanagement. They've done every type of attack which is treacherous that they could fully destroy my civil rights so that I could be pressured to move, to get out. And it's abusive. I haven't broken any tenancy agreement. And so they're saying now I owe them money because I'm not paying money for housing benefit, which I also received full housing benefit. Somehow they got a new system in my local council that messed up my benefit. Nobody else's but mine, targeted, that I didn't even know. And then when I found out that I was in arrears because quietly they have been attacking me and perched like a bad bird of prey as a hawk to mess up my rent and make me in arrears without even realising, due to systemic abuse, that they've made it out as if I'm not getting any housing benefit at all and I've become suddenly in arrears, and suddenly they want to evict me or take me to court. No, I want to take them to court. They've destroyed my free services by politicising my free rubbish collection that I'm living in a flat and not in the house. They've stolen my bins service, free bin service. They've, under fire regulations, policymakers talking together and chit-chatting together secretly with the council. So they've stolen that. They've stolen my civil rights to have my full housing benefit that I have been getting. Suddenly that has stopped. They've also destroyed, ever since I moved in here, my family has been taken away from me under Section 20. And also I've had stalkers who are antisocial that constantly ring my doorbell at every like a hoodie who is doing threats and ringing my doorbell at night time to scare me and frighten me and do death threats. So they have made me into a helpless victim who is disabled, severely disabled, a single mum, which is deeply traumatizing what the abuser has done. And so I'm fighting this battle on my own. They've put me at the front lines. So this skinhead of a man who was Edward they all bowed down to him. They all bowed down to him and worshipped this evil man who started it all. And they made a wrong report and said that my home was dirty and messy. So I'm gonna, at the end of this video, show you around, people joining me. Since they have boasted that it's their property and not my home, I'm going to I'm going to do a little tour to show you around, to see the rooms, how I have done my best to keep it and maintain it clean, give a kickstart, clean and tidy. I also gave all my compliments to the charity involved, but my landlord didn't receive all the compliments online. Said, oh, you did it to them, but you didn't do it for us. And I said, well, why should you? Why should I do it for you? When you can't be trusted and you always do the opposite of what you say you're going to do. So they took offense that I said that I never gave them a positive feedback online for my housing, but I gave it to the charity. So they didn't like that. And so, of course, I'm not going to do it when they cannot be trusted. They've messed me around. They keep messing me around for 3 bloody years, no shower facilities, and falling over, constantly bathroom flooded. And so that's the example of what they're doing to destroy and destabilize my tenancy. And it just doesn't make any sense that they would do this. So it is categorized as the adolescent mind or teenager type of a narcissist that wants to put me in a fear factor and total nightmare so that I have to fight them constantly and be forced constantly. It's an evil force. How are they professional? How are they beautiful? How are they more beautiful than me? How are they more true than me? How are they more right compared to me? And yet they have more money, more jobs, more children, more food, and more of everything. That's what makes me angry, and should be you, my listener. So this is a type of an adolescent teenager mind in an adult's body, which is, just call it A and B, or call it ZZ. Kiki, however, on the other hand, is a different type of a narcissist who I can also verify, not validate, verify what the teacher is teaching me, that they're the same as a toddler. I am more broken than you. Me too, society. I'm disabled too. I'm the baby in the woodland. I'm wounded. I need more protection than you. I need more unconditional love than you. I need more rescue and saving than you. I need more empathy and compassion and second chances than you. And you don't. I'm going to reject everything you do because it's about me, society. And their fragile ego and their addictions and their games, which is abusing professional powers and political powers to take advantage and to harm the most vulnerable. So they have the most unpredictable behavior. They should lose their jobs. They have no input in communication. So there's no clear communication where the words match their action. They arrive here, they don't know who the leaders were. There's mismanagement. They arrive here at the wrong time and the wrong place, harass me, and cause a horror, which they want me to be a victim, which they want me to lose my dignity, alienate me and disable me and be constantly dead. Well, only they can be alive while I am eliminated and I don't exist. So this alien, it's actually the other way around. It is the living dead zombie. Both type of narcissists are living dead zombie, but they're different types. So there's the one that rejects you all the time versus the one that wants you to be afraid all the time, fear-mongering and fighting all the time and forcing you to do what you don't want to do, which is a bad boss, a tyrant. Both are tyrants. One is more old, which is the forceful one, older type of devil, demon-possessed and obsessed, and the other one's more new, which would be constantly needing too much dependency, a human adult baby. This type of a narcissist is a new modern type of narcissist, modern government. Yeah, which is making hostility and hate crime and also self-harm. And then it projects that onto someone who is innocent, who is poor, sick and disabled, and says it's not me, it's you, or I am you, or you are me. So this is what this is what you call a black witch, according to the Bible, which you call someone who is unwise, a fool, someone who you should fear because they could murder you and get away with murder. So these two types of narcissists is an example of my rat Zizi and my rat Kiki as an unfriendly ghost that my hamster pet fights. And so whatever they predict for profit comes true because of politics and professionalism that can be very, very bad. Compared to prophets who are doing things through the Holy Spirit, not through a fantasy, but through the Holy Spirit, where we are rich on the truth and the knowledge of what God wants us to know. So if we love God more than money, or than fame, then we have all the fortune in the world. God's going to make us rich. That's a promise. And also famous. And also equipped us to fully fight the forceful type of narcissist, the dark triad type. So my mother would be the type of the new type of a narcissist. I am you or you are me, extension of. My father is the old type of a narcissist that makes everything a total nightmare and would commit murder and get away with it. So that's an individual type of a murderer. The other type of a murderer, which is a genocidal type, which is the devil, is the psychopath or the sociopath. And so it's a social problem. It wants more than me. It's about the victim. Competition and challenge with the victim. So I want to break your bank, I want to steal your money, I want to break your rules. And so it's constant competition and challenge. And this is a white type of a witchcraft, not the black type. And each of them are a bit of both, but one progresses to the other, without being humble, without humility, without being humbled, and without wanting to help self and others. So this is the result of a sick society and godless society and sin cities, where it's selfishness, greed, and the opposite of the virtue. And so I've mentioned what they've done to incriminate and do all the negative things against the innocent person is no longer innocent. they would find a way to incriminate me. They would find a way to do anything that they can to make me out to be the bad and they are the false good. And if they can't do that, then they'll arrange a bad guy to attack. And so this is a huge problem, a big problem. So what's this got to do with praising people in the right way? So Thanksgiving for being able to reclaim my control for my life, my self-worth, and also the value that I'm alive and that Christ is alive, and I'm saying it's not about me, it's about Christ. I can live in him because there is no other refuge. There is no other secure place, safe zone. Only Christ. My life insurance, my value more than gold. Only Christ. And everything I do and say. Even if I have to wear a disguise, or I have to wear makeup or a mask so that I don't stand out as someone too different in the crowd. As a Christian, so more Christians are being persecuted. There is such a thing as praising someone, and there is such a thing as a holy type of someone who is genuinely unwell, not someone who makes themselves unwell. So being stuck in a situation is bad. Circumstances. My last video, this is part 2. Part 1, designed, forced to live with an enemy forever, as I am a type of an orphan and outcast, unloved widow, unloved single mum, family unit, destroyed by these bad politicians and bad professionals that abuse their position of power. So this is as real as it gets, to say that I need to have peace of mind, protection, and to control, so that my life is not to be toyed with the bad lot, narcissistic abuse or psycho abuse. And it's the worst thing to happen in your own home, in your own bed, hospital bed, to have your own doctor and nurse abuse you, to have your own children abuse you, to have constant wrong negative attention. And so I wrote something that said that I've said something in my comments below the video, that I'm not the one who did self-harm or commit suicide. It was all my ex, my one and only. I only had one individual who lived with me for 4 years, no others, as the opposite sex and same sex, only once in a lifetime. And the enemy destroyed all that, made it worse, made matters worse. The fact that I did escape, the fact that I left my past behind me, the corrupt government is forcing my toxic relatives, forcing my past against me, forcing me to divorce my ex-husband all over again. Even though he's deceased. He died in 2012. And I have to relive the horror, because to appease the bully and the narcissist, that they have to be the ones who are judging me as partial judges. I want it all to stop. I want to take them to court, not the other way around. So that's a waste. Madmen and madwomen who are insane, to put it bluntly, are going to waste time. They're going to waste time, waste money, waste your energy over a lie. And so this is why it's madness. It doesn't make any sense that she should grow up, for example, in a stranger's house and totally ignore me and become a narcissist herself, who was my daughter, who is no longer my daughter. She disowned me and betrayed me from age 12. She knew what she was doing. If I had a loving parent and I knew that that parent loved me, I wouldn't do that to betray and hurt my parent. But her excuse is, however, she can't remember. And that's another reason why I do these videos and publicize it, so that I can remember. And also I have a record of it so that when she becomes more mature and she searches for me, and if God wills for us to reunite in spirit and flesh, get together face to face and hug, touch. We were not allowed to hug. We were not allowed to touch. Handshake, nothing. No contact for 7-8 years now. And this is all because of narcissistic abuse and psychopathic abuse. Not only in my city, Hertfordshire, outside of London, the entire country is based on surveillance, incriminating the innocent, targeting the orphans, the outcasts, and the most vulnerable under Agenda 21, and hostility against migrants who are unemployed, sick, and disabled in general. It has to be the English woman first. So this is the example of bad couples. So I'm asking the question, as Queen Sheba visiting Solomon, son of David, the oldest terms and conditions, the most ancient times, the ancient of days record, what she did. So she then came, according to the Bible, to visit King Solomon to find out how he is strong and united, how he keeps young, how he judges fairly without partial judgment, how he has been rich and famous, where he failed, but on the surface he wins for God. But ever since he became an adulterer, he then lost his riches and lost his fame and lost his faith as a Christian. And also the fifth point is how he listens to God and respects God to receive wisdom. So it's not only intelligence, which is academic achievement and being clever. It is wisdom that means I want what you want, God. I want what you want, God. I want what you want, God. This is wisdom, because then God enables you to love the 10 commandments with all your heart, all your mind, all your energy, all your strength, and all your tasks, routines. And it's far and wide where he spread the knowledge of routines, which is religion, and spirituality, which is, I want what you want, God. You created me, you make me, and I want what you want. But not when it comes to woman. Oh my God, he made woman and sex into a god with a small g. I want what you want, which was the woman. So for him to allow the woman to dominate, dominatrix, disciplinarian. So because he did that, there were many narcissistic abusive women who have ruined his reputation, ruined his family, and ruined his riches and fame. So he was no longer rich, no longer wealthy, no longer famous, because of these narcissistic abusers and these women who all wanted his attention for the wrong reasons. Money, sex, drugs, or whatever else they had, medicines. So they were using and abusing him. And he then was learning how to use and abuse back. So it was back and forth, in the sense that he made human gods with a small g. He started it and he finished it. And then he doesn't say anything about the end of his life. When King David died, he was ashamed for making human gods. However, when King Solomon died, I don't know if he was ashamed for human gods and goddesses. So Sheba, who was the personality of a dog cat, Solomon was a cat dog because of the staring. I have to stare at you. No, he was a different type of personality. So he had the hardest questions from Sheba, because she didn't really believe that he was wise. But then she noticed how he had a uniform going and a teamwork going. She noticed that. He showed her around. So there's no wisdom in showing your privacy. However, if you're bullied at home, and if they say that their accommodation is more important than my home, then I do have the human right to show around. So every question, so then he proved to take her breath away, because he was so clever with all the foods and spices and gold and precious stones and gardens. She was impressed, but she didn't want to have sex with him. She packed up her bags and left. And she came from Africa, a black woman. So she was impressed with a Jewish man, but she did pack up her bags and leave because he did not fear God. There was something about him that wanted to impress women and use God's wisdom to confuse wisdom with intelligence is the wrong thing to do. It's the evil thing to do. So maybe that's why she didn't want to have sex with him. I don't know if she did have sex with him. Probably not, because according to what I'm reading is that she just left. After she had seen everything, the queen and her attendants returned to the land of Sheba in Africa, and she took her gifts and everything that she cared for, the king gave to her as gifts. So it's very interesting how the Queen of the South had rebuked the perverse generation. So according to the New Testament, we are reminded, so that means don't forget, the Queen of Sheba rebuked the perverse generation, the obscure and perverse justice. To say, yes, I acknowledge your wisdom, but you should not be mixing wisdom with your intelligence. And maybe that's why she didn't sleep with him. She didn't have sex with him. I don't know if she did or did not. But according to the New Testament, she had rebuked the perverse generation. And so, yeah, King Solomon was very excessive in his building, was very excessive with probably one of the 7 wonders of the earth, planet Earth. He had done all of these things that he had achieved academically and achieved with working with narcissists, type 1 and type 2, type A and type B, and also working with sociopaths and psychopaths. So he was mixing it all up. And he didn't know how to have the wisdom regarding adultery, because since he became an adulterer, his civilization, repeat, his riches and wealth, repeat, and his fame was diminished as a result. So now we all know what destroys. Who destroys civilization is men who cannot commit, men who do not prioritize their time and attention with the woman he wants to commit with and have the rest of his life with. He always has to have followers, thousands of followers, excessive model-looking houses, perfect clothes, perfect body, a bad type of perfection, which is corruption, versus the good type of, only God makes us good, holy type of perfection. So it's interesting that he was fair, but it all became unfair and the undoing of his intelligence when he teamed up with abusers. So then he no longer was a fair judge. He became a partial judge. And so it's very interesting that shows how it was the undoing of him. The same and worse than his father, who he had an affair with one woman. So it was bad enough for his father, King David. He didn't learn the lesson. It was a generational curse, which was much worse compared to King David, because he didn't have one affair. He had multiple affairs and multiple wives. Not group sex, not polygamous relationship in the sense of having group sex, but it's more or less the same thing, where you have multiple wives, and January I'll have Stacy, February I'll have Maria, March I'll have Lucy, April I'll have... So it's similar to polygamous, but even worse so, that he would have these multiple wives. So he lost his wisdom. There's consequences for that. He lost out. And the same with Samson and Delilah. He was destroyed by a woman. And all of his supernatural gifts that was given to him by God was destroyed by a woman. So women can be even more dangerous than men when it comes to them finding out what their spiritual gift is, finding out what their superpowers are from the Holy Spirit, finding out what their innocence is so that they can corrupt it. Women do this more than men in witchcraft. There are also wizards, but I would say that wizards and witches are as dangerous as each other. The gender male, women and men, can be as dangerous as each other when it comes to abuse. A murderous woman, an adulterous woman, a murderous man, an adulterous man. Same thing. Accusing somebody innocent, getting in the way of making progress, of just doing what's right, and remain loyal. They can't do it. And so I am still looking for new family and friends and a new boyfriend, but I decided that God will look for me by doing this same test that Queen Sheba did, how to recognize the wise men. So the question is, I asked God, let me find the wise men and put them to the test, the same as Queen Sheba did. And look at the same questions that Queen Sheba did. I'm not going to repeat. I can just rewind the video and listen to it to remember. And how she resisted probably the temptation of sleeping with him after he did so much for her as a friend. She said, well, I'm going to make a boundary. I'm going to make a limit. You can't cross this. We're friends, not boyfriend and girlfriend. And I don't want your emotional support too much, because then that will give you an automatic right to sleep with me and have sex with me. So I'll keep my distance. I'm your friend, like a distant cousin or a distant sister. As, visit you maybe once or twice a year. And that's fair enough. So that's how she rebuked the perverse generation. And so I did the same thing on YouTube, and I said, God, help, quick, help. Because they're saying that I'm always sick and it's all my fault because I am mentally ill. I have a compulsive obsessive disorder because I'm addicted to my social media. Rubbish. I'm isolated for more than 20 years. I have injustice on top of injustice for more than 20 years. I'm fighting battles on my own. So I'm using this as my scope. I'm also contacting Disability Scope and other disability agencies to see how I can find support, which is fair. It's not expecting too much. I'm only looking for reasonable support and to go at my pace because of the bad stress that really does kill, steal and destroy my everything. So it's not my mind. So if your mind is right, your body is right. Not necessarily. Your body could be right, your spirit can be right, but your mind can't be. Or the other way around. Your mind is right and strong, energetic, alert, but your body is not because of a disability. So this is where discrimination comes in. There's a saying, where there's a will, there's a way. There's also a saying, my spirit is willing, but my body is not. So you can't make a judgment like that. That's a wrong partial judgment. So I've scrutinized that and said, no, it's not that I'm always sick because of my mind. I'm always sick because I'm oppressed by disciplinarians who want to punish me, discipline me, and treat me as a child because of being in constant sickness. Denied medication, denied treatments, denied, social, deny, always. And so it's a dead end created by abusers. And so that's why I've done my part 2 video in closing. Not because I'm self-righteous, but because I want to close by saying I have suffered for doing right and having my responsibility. These abusers are getting perverse pleasure. They're never punished for the wrongs that they do. So I'm not making a public appeal. I am not going to be judged by idiots who are fools and judging people by first impressions. Similar to St. Paul, who was shipwrecked and came to near-death experience, he thought he was going to die. No matter who accompanied him or what he accomplished, his experience had nothing to do with it. Because his travelling vehicle or boat had sunk and he had to swim to shore, surrounded by sharks. So this is how it feels like being alone, stuck on an island, or being alone without support. And that's another reason why I keep on my social media to say, well, I'm an adult and I'm looking to find my way off of this island, away from this hostility. And it's the same as shipwreck. That's what they've done to my home. Ever since I arrived here and stayed here for 13 years as a clean tenant, no criminal, no drug, me not damaging the property, them damaging the property and blaming it on me. So it's very, very bad what they've created, which contains every type of narcissistic abuse in their playbook with their covered up crimes. Do I want to sue? No. My priority, I do want to sue, however, my priority is to leave and find my legal rights to leave in my time when I'm ready, not when they tell me, and make sure I find the right accommodation, which is the worst time to look for accommodation during a financial recession and collapse and find this economy problem. And it's very difficult to find home. And I shouldn't have to move. Why should I move? The only reason why I'm moving is because I'm in a flat that has no lift. If it had a lift, I would stay. I don't want to move to a house because it's the worst thing to do. As an independent woman, I would go into a ground floor flat or in a flat that has a lift. So that's my plan. And I keep praying to God to help and to just find what I'm looking for without being stalked, without going from one property to the other. This is my 3rd home. I'm hoping to find a 4th home where I can get away and find that escape. And every time I tell the police, they don't take me seriously. If I write a letter to the police, they don't take me seriously because they are the police, these stalkers. The police's children, police's allies, friends, party pooper, killjoys. Not all of the Hertfordshire police, but unfortunately some of them. And so I don't know if I cannot illustrate what I've done on this video. But I will show my bathroom and how I was ready for the meeting and nobody come. So they do the opposite of what they say because they're spying on my social media. Now, I want Thrive Homes to stop spying on my social media. I want anyone who is political and professional to stop abusing their powers. It's not fair. It's not right. Get off. And if you won't get off, I'll make you get off. I'll make God kill somebody that you love, so that you lose your loved ones. I won't make God, but I will pray to God that God will kill your loved ones. The one you love the most will drop dead. So here I am, going to show some bits and pieces. What have I got here? This is the hall. No flies, no flies. Kill the flies. I need to buy an additional machine. More vinegar. Fly zapper. Because I have a rabbit and I have to hoover every day, nearly every hour. If she decides, my medical rabbit, not... She is toilet trained, but... I have a cow, picture of me. I don't have a drying for my laundry, so I've got it near the radiator, which is drying my laundry. My kitchen. I need to have someone help me move the freezer out so I can put a bin there, just in the corner. One of the freezers over there. So I've got someone to clean it. Been cleaning it with boiling hot water. And I want five different colours. 5 different colours. One for windows, mop. One for work surfaces and cleaning the fridge and freezer, mop. All 5. I need 5 more different colours or 4 more different colours, so it's colour coded. And I wash it in the washing machine. Clean and boil water the floors because it's a very rough floor made of stone. That's my wall of my daughter there. Next to a helicopter. Come on, work camera doesn't want to work now. I'm showing around how clean my home is. Look how clean it is. I had chairs and everything ready for them to come and see me. My carpets have been cleaned. My bathroom is still clean. Decluttered. Ready for them to come and see the bathroom. Tiny little bathroom, 4x4. Iron chair there that can easily come out. Can't use the shower. Bed bathing. And I have the other room over here, which is dark. So that's the other room. Emptied. Another room. So I have one sitting room near the door and dining room where the dining table is. All my cookers are going to be recycled in the bin in March. No cooker, no freezer, nothing in here. Dining table. There's a space here for another chair. I'm going to buy, which is a disability chair. I have my walking sticks. This is my walking stick. And I can't stand for too long. So there, that's the master's bedroom. Yes, I've shown around now. And I show my rabbit as well. This is how I dry my laundry. My laundry is being dried, which is my red blanket. Not see it very well, but it's a red blanket. I need more light. I've got my phone and my rabbit there. My hamster's over here. Hello, hamster. How are you doing today? He's there